we have consulted a lot with the IRS about the federal tax credit for electric vehicles. So this is all the information that we have, and we're sharing it with you. So you can get an electric vehicle at a reduced cost. So first thing you want to know, the federal tax credit is actually called the Clean Vehicle Credit. It's for both new and used cars, but we're going to start talking about the new cars and the new version of this. So for new vehicles, you can get up to $7,500 on eligible models that meet certain battery and assembly requirements. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty details about the battery and assembly requirements, please, you can go on our website. We have information there. But also the federal government has a website which just tells you which models are eligible. So you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty. This tax credit is valid through 2032 and is eligible for battery electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, and fuel cell vehicles. It can be claimed at point of sale or when filing taxes. So that is really a big thing. This is something that has changed recently because it was only when you were filing taxes. So we're really excited that it can be claimed at the point of sale, because that means it's no longer based on your tax liability. It's almost acts as if it's a rebate, because if you get it from a IRS registered dealership, which you definitely have to purchase it from them to get it, you can just get that money off the top of the price. How do you find out if a dealership is IRS registered? You simply have to ask, and we'll tell you how to like double check and like what steps to follow when you're at the dealership in just a little bit. But unfortunately, there is no list of IRS registered dealerships. We have asked, and they will not give us one. So with all of that, there are also income requirements for people who are purchasing an electric vehicle and want to take advantage of the clean vehicle credit. So for joint filers, you have to make $300,000 or less. For heads of household, it's $225,000 or less. And for individual filers, it's $150,000 or less. There are 3 vehicle requirements that you should just know about, because there is not a huge, like the list of vehicles that qualify for the federal tax credit right now is not extensive. There are quite a few on there, but you might not find the one that you want on there. So just keep that in mind. And this might be the reason why. So 1, the vehicle has to be assembled in North America. 2, there's an MSRP price cap. So for SUVs, sedans, and pickup trucks, it's $80,000 or less. And for sedans and hatchbacks, it's $55,000 or less. And that does not include any dealer markup. So if you see a car on the lot that qualifies, and it is listed as $50,000 for a sedan, and you're really excited, but the dealership ends up charging you $57,000, you still get the tax credit. The battery requirement is divides the tax credit of $7,500 into 2 buckets, where it's $37.50 each. So there's the mineral requirement and the battery component requirement. We're not going to get too crazy into details here today, but just know that they do exist, and that could be why you don't get the full $7,500 for a specific car, and why you only might get, like, say, $37.50. I think. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, if you're saying to yourself, this is a lot to remember, I understand. And you're saying, well, I've seen the vehicles that are offered that have, currently are eligible for the federal tax credit, and that's not a vehicle that I want. That's okay, because there's also an important leasing loophole that I wanted to tell you all about. So the Inflation Reduction Act, which also created the Commercial Clean Vehicle Tax Credit, which is what we just talked about, also created, which created the regular Clean Vehicle Tax Credit. It also created the Commercial Clean Vehicle Tax Credit. And the Commercial Clean Vehicle Tax Credit doesn't have all of these different requirements. And pretty much you can get it for any electric vehicle. However, you have to lease the car instead of purchasing it. So it does apply to lease, and you have to make sure that the dealership that you're working with rolls the $7,500 into the price of the lease. And they don't always do that. Most do because they want to sell the car, but they don't always do that. But this is really cool because technically when you lease a car, you don't own it. The commercial entity that holds the loan owns the car. And so they can choose to apply the tax credit to the loan, to the price of the vehicle or not. So really, it is a good workaround for people who want a different car or just like to lease anyways. Now we're going to shift from new vehicles, which is what we just talked about, to the used vehicle part of the clean vehicle credit. So we have a list of all the cars that are eligible. What's great about this is there are no battery requirements, which is part of what makes the new vehicle credit limited. But this tax credit is a little bit less money. It's it's $4,000 or 30% of the sale price, whichever is lower. You do have to buy the vehicle from an IRS registered dealership. It has to be at least 2 years old, so that's like by like model year, and cost $25,000 or less. There's also a lower income threshold associated with it than there was for the new vehicle. So for a joint filer, it's $150,000, and for an individual filer, it's $75,000. Computer's a little slow. Okay. How to claim the tax credit. So as a consumer, you can choose to transfer the tax credit to an IRS registered dealership or take the credit when filing taxes. I would recommend to do it right then and there. Buyers can choose to receive cash, apply it towards the down payment, or apply the credit towards the cost of the EV. If taken at the time of sale, buyers can access the rebate regardless of their tax liability, which is very important for both new and used battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids. If taken when filing taxes, buyers can only claim up to their federal tax liability. Just keep that in mind. Just to really go into how to claim the tax credit once you're at the dealership. The first thing you want to do is confirm that your expected income for this tax year is under the required limit. The second thing you want to do is make sure the dealership or the store you're working with has registered with the IRS Energy Credits online portal. You want to ask the salesperson or the general manager. I would recommend actually talking to the general manager just to be like very sure. So ask the salesperson or the general manager you're working with to confirm via the Energy Credit online portal that the particular vehicle you're interested in qualifies for the federal tax credit. And this is something you can take with you when you go to the dealership because we'll send you the slides. But number 4, when you purchase, you want to make sure you receive a copy of A, the time of sale report the dealer submitted, and B, a copy of the confirmation from the IRS of successful submission. When it comes to tax season, you still have to file a form, the 8936, whether you take the tax credit at the point of sale or whether you file your tax or you do it when you do tax time. So just make sure that you fill out that form when you're doing your taxes. And that's how you claim the federal tax credit.